Thank you for tuning into Devotions. Okay, all this week, we are looking what it means to walk with God. Now, if you want to be blessed, then you want to have a really, really close relationship with God, like He's your best friend. So we're looking here just every day. What does that mean? What does that look like? Look, walking by faith is never comfortable. I talked about that this weekend. It is never, ever comfortable. Look here with me in Matthew 7:14. Now, look how Jesus speaks of salvation. He said, for the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. Now, when you witness to somebody, everybody just feels like you should be able to do anything you want to do, and God's okay with everything. Or there's really things as believers, this is for real, that you just shouldn't do. We're Christians. We live different lives. Well, a lot of people find that to be very, very hard, and it is hard, but something you get used to. And you're like, you know what, this Christian crowd over here, God's people, that's my crowd. That sinful crowd over there, that's not my crowd. I don't want to hang out with those people. Look, faith and obedience are inseparable. I talked about this on the weekend, and you can't separate them. So if you are not, trying to obey God, then you're not walking by faith. I'm not saying you're not a Christian. You're not a good Christian, but all of us struggle with doing the right thing. But the first thing is you've got to believe it's the right thing. And then don't make excuses up for the things you do. Say, God, but what I'm doing here is not right. And I want to come clean with you because I want to walk with you. I want to be closer to you. Look, Romans 8, verse 8. Those who are in the flesh cannot please God. We talk about music. There's some music, and there's been times in years past, we get a singer up there, and they'd be singing a song. Then all of a sudden, we could just tell their flesh was into it. And the song, the message wasn't, look to Jesus. The message in the song was, look at me. Okay, so we don't want to be doing that. We want to put God first. We want to live in His Spirit, walk in His Spirit, not fulfilling the pride or the desires of our flesh. Look in Hebrews 11, verse 9. By faith, talk about Abraham, he went to live in the land of promise as in a foreign land, living in tents. Remember, this isn't comfortable. With Isaac and Jacob and heirs with him of the same. And so they gave up their life of luxury. They gave up their nice home. And they're living in tents. Okay, now, if you don't have much, that's not a sign that you're more spiritual. But would you be willing to give up what you have if God asked you to? And because they were on this journey for the Lord and for the future of all Jewish people. Okay, it's not a walk in the park. Walking with God is not a walk in the park. It's not on a nice sunny day praising God that the sun is shining. Listen, that's nice, but that's not walking with God. Look at Hebrews 10:38. I love this verse. He says, but my righteous one shall live by faith. Okay, and he's going to show you what is not living by faith. And if he shrinks back, my soul has no pleasure in him. What's that saying? That is what average Christians do. We're living for God. We're sacrificing for God. We're serving the Lord. We're witnessing to people. Then all of a sudden, something happens in our life, and we shrink back. I like that phrase, shrink back. God says, I'll have no pleasure in you if you do that. Listen, I want to encourage you today to walk with God. So when you go to pray, I want you to think about the areas in which you need to be obedient in.